Alright, so we're going to be creating a box plot, which is a graphical representation of numbers, central tendency of a set of numbers. What we're going to be working with is a set 10 numbers. We're going to try to find the median, the upper quartile, the lower quartile, and the minimum and maximum. The median is just the middle number in a set of data. So we start off by putting our numbers in order. So it turns out that these numbers are 1 through 10. So those are placed into order so that we can start finding the median of all these numbers. The median just means the middle number. So what I'm going to do is separate this data into two sets of numbers by finding the middle point. So we find that by checking off numbers one at a time on each side until we find the very middle value of those numbers. In this case, it happens to be two numbers, the 5 and the 6, so the middle point is going to be halfway between a 5 and a 6, which is 5.5. So I'll mark that on my number line as the median, and I'll mark my number down here as a 5.5. That's my middle number, my median. That divides my set of numbers into a lower set of numbers and an upper set of numbers. So to find the upper quartile, I'm going to find the median of the upper half. So I need to find the middle number. So I'm once again going to check off a high number and a low number, high number, low number, until I get down to either a single number or two numbers. So since 8 is right in the middle of my upper numbers, that becomes my upper quartile. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom half. I'm going to take my lower half and I'm going to figure out what the middle number is here. Once again, I'm checking off numbers until I have a single center number, or it could be 2, in which case I'd have to find the middle of those two numbers. In this case it's a 3, so I'll mark my lower quartile as a 3. Now if you look at the numbers that I've dealt with already, I divided it in half, and I divided each half in half, in halves. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sections of numbers, which is why they're called quartiles. I've separated them into quarters, which numerically we call quartiles. So these numbers will make my box. My median was 5.5. My upper quartile, or upper half, is an 8. That's the middle of my upper half. And the middle of my lower half, or lower quartile, was a 3. The only other thing I have to create on here is I need to mark what my lowest and highest number was. We call those the minimum and the maximum. The lowest number is the minimum, which was a 1, and the highest number is the maximum. The highest number is the maximum, which was a 10. So it's the 1 and the 10 that I mark, and these just become lines connected to my box plot. And that's how we create a box plot, by finding medians and the median of those medians, or quartiles. There's another way we can do it that makes it a little more simplistic. We still put them in order, 1 through 10, but we'll do it on a sheet of paper. So I've turned my paper sideways so that each number is in its own cell, 1 through 10. Now what I'm going to do is take this paper and I'm going to fold it in half so that the 1 and the 10 are facing each other. So I fold it like this. I'm going to make sure you can kind of see where the 1 and the 10 are right on top of each other. And I'm going to make sure the blue lines match up too, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So I make a crease, a very sharp crease where they folded together, and that line becomes the median. And you'll notice that that crease, that line, is between the 5 and the 6, which is 5.5. So now what I'm going to do is fold it one more time. I fold it back in half, and then I take either the 5, let me show you this. I'm either going to take the 5 and fold it to the 1, or I can take the 6 and fold it to the 10. Either way, I'm folding the two numbers together the way that I did the 1 and the 10. So this time I did the 6 and the 10. Now you'll be able to see the 5 here because it's on the back side of the 6. But I'm folding those together, matching up the blue lines as best I can, and then I make another crease, very sharp crease, where I fold it. So now when I open this up, look what happens. I have a crease that's going through the 3, and I have a crease that's going through the 8. So this quartile is 3 and this quartile is 8. This gives me the same box. Well, before I do that, I'm also going to mark where my high and my low is, my minimum and my maximum, and connect it with a line. Now let's take a look. Notice that this box plot is smaller but looks exactly the same. My minimum is 1, lower quartile is 3, my median is 5.5, my upper quartile is 8, and my maximum is 10. So this is just another way that people that are very hands-on and visual can do a box plot by just lining the numbers up into individual cells of a piece of paper. Now, of course, it will not work if there are too many numbers, but generally we won't see more than 10, maybe 15, at times 20 numbers. So this just gives a good graphical way of representing quartiles by folding all numbers into perfect fourths.